We are live. Hold on, I'm gonna read. Makes me tell. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, I put the timer on. Lord, I hope I'm doing this right, Jesus.
You are. You got
Yeah,
it.
okay. I see the timer. Okay, so just give us a little more time. And then I'm gonna go into the intro and then I will see if I could time this baby ever so perfectly. I got a timer, y'all. Did you? Precious wedding right here, baby. Let me smell. This is Naishanda Larimore, founder of Save 1000 Lives, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission and purpose is to educate the multicultural community, address the myths concerning organ donation, and also register 1,000 people to become organ donors. To become an organ donor, register at donatelifeflorida.org. You can also support the mission by donating funds on Cash App Save 1000 Lives. And for more information, email us at save1000livestour@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Transplant Talk with Naishanda Larimore. Thank you all so much for being here. I am super excited. If you don't know who I am the founder of Save 1000 Lives and now the host of Transplant Talk. We are talking everything about transplants. Okay. A lot of people, don't know I've got into this career because of my late husband, Leonard Wayne Larimore. We started this journey together. He went on to be with the Lord. He met his demise on April 25th, 2018. And so, in his honor and memory and his legacy, I've decided to keep his memory alive. And so, we've started Transplant Talk. I want to be able to talk to everyone or anyone who is waiting for a transplant or that person has had a transplant. So this is absolutely, definitely near and dear to my heart, and I cannot wait to have more guests, on the show. I can't. I'm looking at everyone that's commenting right now. Hello, everyone. Hi, Steve. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Dedrick. I see all of these things. So I see we have some fans because, oh my goodness, the president and the first lady of Mayo Clinic is here with me today. They are my good friends. She is my sister from another mister, and he is my brother from another mother. We met August 2016, before Leonard went to have his he had to have an LVAD, which is an artificial heart. And we met this amazing, God fearing, loving couple. And since that day we've met, they have never left my side. Carol is definitely an angel, because anytime I needed her, I had, some kind of way of thinking, Carol would send me a text message. Like, she literally was attached to my tears. I don't know how God did it, but he did such an amazing job with, these two loving people. So without further ado, I would like to bring on Carol and Solomon Griffin. Solomon is an heart transplant recipient, and Carol is everything. She's the wife, she's the caregiver. She has a slash behind her name. We are both educators as well. And so our relationship, our sisterhood just meshed so well. So I'm going to bring them on right now. And guys, just welcome them in, and please, please, please share the broadcast. Do watch parties, whatever you feel necessary to do. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I'm going to add them on now. Hello, family.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. You see all your fans. I don't know if you can see all of the people that's on. Oh, Kibo. Hey, Kibo. We love you. Our Mayo family. You will always be Mayo family to me. Guys, thank you all, so much for being here and hearing their story. It is about time. The Griffin story is told. I'm so delighted that they chose Transplant Talk to tell their story. It probably should be a movie, what they experienced. But I'm going to just let them come on. And guys, I will start asking, the questions right now is, so let's just see, how long have you two been together? Just so people will know.
27 years.
We've been married for 27
years.
Married for 27 years. God is good. God is good. And I know they still love each other. They still cherish each other. It is such a positive relationship for me when we had our time, at Mayo. And, they're just a godsend to me. I don't know what I would do if they were not in my house, in my life. And I'm honored that God allowed us to cross paths. So it was just a fabulous, wonderful friendship. And just so everyone knows, Solomon, how long ago has it been now since you received your heart transplant?
It's been 3 years and 7 months.
3 years and 7 months. Woo. Now here's that question. How long did you have to wait to receive your heart?
6.5 months.
That's how long you were in the hospital.
Well, I was in the hospital 6.5 months. I was diagnosed back in December 2011.
Oh wow. That's a long time.
Yes.
That is a long time. And let me tell you, this transplant life is not an easy life.
No, ma'am.
Everything has to be looked after. He needs to be looked after. What had to change when you first found out you needed to have a heart transplant?
Well, a lot of things had changed. Some of the things that had to change was my water intake.
Your diet.
Yeah, my diet. But we was pretty already good on our diet. But the biggest thing was my water intake, because I was doing like over 300 ounces per day, and it went down to 50 ounces per day. So that was a big change, to keep the fluid off. So
right. Right. I definitely can testify to their fluid restriction.
Mm-hmm.
The fluid restriction was not fun. It is not fun for anyone that loves to, drink, or even eat. For example, like watermelon or ice cream and pineapples, any of those fruits. That grits even has, the water intake, and that was something I definitely learned about. And it was a little overwhelming because everything you look at, you're like, wait a minute, how much did you drink today? How much did you drink today? And so, you have to figure out a routine to make it to make it happen, and I'm pretty sure Carol, because I was called the sergeant in arms at when somebody get something to drink, because I'm always checking, mark it off on the refrigerator so that we know exactly how much it was that they drunk, doing that throughout the day, and getting on a scale every day to see if you gained a pound or two. So those are all part of the plan, and following that regimen was absolutely important. It was essential to do that. So before you had the heart transplant, how many medications were you taking before the transplant?
Before it was, it was probably about 10.
Yeah, I'd say
Probably about 10.
Yeah.
10 pills a day.
Okay, about 10 pills a day. That's still a lot. And we know in order to do that, we had to set up the phone for an alarm every time it was time to take the medicine. And I believe Paul did the same thing too, because we would be looking around like, okay, whose phone is that? Because you need to make sure you take your medicine, at a certain time. But before all of this happened, before you experienced, knowledge of, how long you were definitely waiting for a transplant, what was your occupation? What were you doing? And did that contribute to your needing a heart transplant?
No, it comes from, my doctor said it comes from a long line of being diabetic and high blood pressure
patient.
Yeah. So it was a long road from that. What caused it?
Okay. So a lot of people, they don't understand that. Well, a lot of people, for example, are healthy. They didn't have any kind of problems, any medical problems, but they still, end up having to have a heart transplant or needed a heart transplant. So I just wanted to make sure that, people fully understand that, there are different side effects or different ways for you to be able to develop congestive heart failure. And, people don't necessarily do that. But let me also ask you this. Was this also in your family history? Was anyone in your family had high blood pressure, diabetic, congestive heart failure? Was that an issue in your family at all?
Yes, it was. My mom's, which was my grandma, she said she passed of congestive heart failure. She was like 40, 41.
Oh, wow. That's
my
young.
father. Yeah, my father passed from a massive heart attack. So and yes, we have high blood pressure and diabetic that runs in our family.
Okay.
You got diagnosed at the age of 42.
Yeah. I got diagnosed at the age of 42.
Okay. Wow. And still so young. People will expect you to be 60, 70 years old with congestive heart failure. And we all know that that's not the case. So before you went to the doctor, before you were diagnosed, were you sick? Did you feel, anything wrong with you?
Yes, I had swelling in my feet and my ankles.
Oh, okay.
And they treated me for it. They gave me a diuretic for that.
Okay.
So it was more or less that was one of the symptoms of it.
Okay. So you saw it. You saw hands and feet swelling.
No.
Um,
Yes, but at that time we didn't realize that it was symptoms of heart failure. One of the reasons why is because he was working full time and part time,
oh, wow.
working out at the gym 5 times a week,
Okay.
and that was a lifesaver. Him
Okay.
going and working out, because had he not been doing that, then the situation would have been totally different. So yeah.
That
It was hard for us to even know that it was heart failure. It's just like, okay, take the diuretic, the water pill, and it'll pull the fluid off. Well, didn't realize the purpose of it was because the heart wasn't pulling the fluid out of the body like it needed to. So, but he was feeling shortness of breath, like he may have had bronchitis. We ended up in the ER, and they treated him for pneumonia. 2 weeks later, he was feeling the same way after being medicated for 2 weeks, and went to the ER again and ended up being admitted to the hospital and being diagnosed.
Okay. Now, Carol, I being a caregiver myself, how did this news affect you? How did you take it? Knowing that, huh?
I just said, "Oh my!" When the doctor walked in, and he said, "Well, Miss Griffin, this is what it is." I was in awe. I didn't know what to say. I felt numb. Didn't know what to think at the moment, because we just went from him working, being fine, to, okay, your husband is gonna need a heart. I mean, and he said, and the cardiologist in Tallahassee, he said he didn't want to release him from the hospital.
Okay.
He said, if you don't hear from Mayo Clinic in 2 weeks, then call me. And exactly 2 weeks from the day he was released from Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, we were back at Tallahassee Memorial, and he had to have emergency surgery and get a pacemaker and a defibrillator. So yeah, and then having 5 children at home, and they were 9, 16, 17, 18, and 20. Going home coming home to them to explain to them what was going on, and being that our family is so close, it was tough, but at the same time, we have such a praying and powerful, faithful family that instead of them being all down, I mean, we were shocked in the beginning, but once we got past the shock, even our children were able to encourage us and help us to stay strong.
Right, because I was definitely wondering, how did you all prepare
the
children? How did you prepare the children for that news? That husband and wife conversation. Because I know we had to take a step back for a second to say, how are we going to tell the kids that it's something so that they are not scared? It was definitely it was a serious conversation to have with ourselves before telling them, and try not to make them nervous. And that was really interesting that you said that was something it was a challenge for us. So I definitely understand. I definitely sympathize with that, because it was definitely something special. And with being a new wife, that was also like, wait, what? What do you mean? What you mean you need a new heart? So I definitely get it. But Carol, how did you manage to balance home, work? Because at that time, I know you were teaching.
Yes.
How did you manage home, work, and the hospital?
During the time of his hospital stay?
Yes.
Oh, let me tell you, a lot of prayer. Seriously, a lot of prayer, a lot of support from family and friends. My coworkers, they were all great. They encouraged me a lot. I needed it. I appreciated it. And not just my coworkers, but being that we're in such a small community and, everyone knows everyone and so many people knew about it. I got encouragement all the time. I got phone calls. I got home visits, texts, you name it. That helped me because during the time he was in the hospital, I was working actually all day. I would teach all day. I would do Boys and Girls Club in the afternoon, and then come home and, the usual, because I was drop dead tired by then. But I also had to make time to try and call him every day. We stayed in touch every day, and I would go mainly on the weekends to visit, and couldn't go every weekend because my body was just tired. So, but we'd end up. I remember for his birthday back in July of 2016, we surprised him with an iPhone so we could FaceTime and actually get to see each other. When I couldn't drive down or whatever. So it was definitely hard. We hadn't been separated like that before, so it was tough. I cried on a lot of shoulders, but like I say, much prayer and strong faith is definitely worth it. And God took care of us, took care of me up and down the dangerous highways, and yeah, a whole lot of prayer, I'm telling you. And we had it from family, friends, people that didn't know us. I mean, we could feel it all over the place. Like, okay, we know people are praying for us because I'm still able to work and I didn't have to sign myself up, to get help mentally. I was able to go through with it. And my students in the classroom were awesome. Oh, they were awesome. They were just awesome. They knew what Miss Carol was going through, and Mr. Solomon. I mean, it was nothing for me to go in my classroom and one of the kids say, "Oh, Miss Carol, we prayed for you and your husband last night at Bible study." I mean, it was a network, an awesome network of people.
That is awesome. That is amazing. And I don't people really don't understand exactly what this entails and how traveling this road. I fully believe that traveling, everyone is on that road to transplant, but your ETA, what you see along the way, your destination to get there, everyone's is different. And so this is why this was so important for me to be able to let you all tell your story. And, right now, I want to know what happened on the day you got the first call. The first call.
Oh, man.
The heart. So I'm gonna let you tell them, because I only lived that a small bit, but I want you to tell the people exactly what happened on that day, the first call. Notice the first.
I will never ever forget it. He called me. We was talking, and he was like, "Okay, they came in and they told me not to eat dinner. And anytime they come in and tell you not to eat dinner, that means they have a potential organ for you." So I was like, okay. So I got all prepped. I already had a bag packed because we were told once he received his heart, to plan to live in Jacksonville for 3 months, because you can be no more than 20 minutes away from the hospital. So I had my bags packed. I was ready. I talked to my daughters and loved on them and say, okay, I have to go. So I leave out. I head to Jacksonville. I get there. I'm all excited. The doctors come in. They have him sign papers, the whole nine. And we were waiting. He was prepped and ready for surgery. And I recall the doctor saying, okay, we'll be back around 3 a.m. to get him, to take him into the OR. I fell asleep waiting, anxiously waiting. I fell asleep. But he got a phone call. And I woke up. He got the phone call. And I'm thinking, that's the doctor saying, okay, we're ready. Well, he had a sad look on his face. And he said, Carol, the heart failed. They had ran tests to make sure the heart was good, whole nine. Well, the doctor went back and they decided to do one more test. When they did that one more test, the heart failed. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever been hurt like that before, to hear news like that. I bust out into tears. I cried. I know, for 17 hours. I cried. I was no help to him at all. His mom and sister came down. They were there. They sat in the room with him. I couldn't stand it. I ended up going and getting in my car at the time, and I just cried. Everybody was trying to call me to talk to me. I didn't want to hear it in the moment. And I just kept saying, I didn't ask God why the heart failed. I just needed to understand why you got us this close and not allow it to go through when you have shown us what's going to happen. And I was just hurt. There's no other word for it except hurt. And I do remember this one guy that he was next door neighbors with while he was there. His wife, I encouraged her a lot. And we were sitting outside after I had done all that crying. I decided to go back up to the room and talk to him, as if it was his fault that he didn't get it. So I say, okay, I'm ready to talk to him now. So I go back up to the room to talk to him, and he say, let's get out of this room. Let's go outside. Come on, let's just go outside, just chill. Still didn't want to hear all that, but went outside, and we sat outside and we were talking. And the same one that I encouraged, she came to me, Sherry Waldman. She came to me and she said, Carol, you can't lose faith. You are the reason I regained my focus. And when she said it, I don't even know if she remembers saying it, but I never forget it. And she said that to me. And though that's not what I wanted to hear in the moment, I wanted somebody to feel sorry for me. It's like, okay, can't y'all see I'm hurting? Who's gonna feel sorry for me and come? You know, misery loves company. I'm like, I need some company right now. I'm miserable. Come on, I need somebody on my side. Right. But she spoke those words, and she was straight face serious. Wow. And I had no other choice but to sit back and think about, okay, Carol, how are you gonna give up? You've encouraged somebody else, and now you want to give up. And she, in turn, poured that encouragement back into me, and that made all the difference. Her words, and from that point on, I just pressed my way, and I was like, God, you've been here all this time. You haven't left us. I know you're not going to leave me now. And after getting past that point, and one of the nurses, she told me, she said, you'd rather the heart fail before going in his chest than for it to fail once it get in there. And as time went on, I was able to accept that and appreciate the fact that the heart failed before going in his chest. And that's what really made me appreciate the situation all the more. I mean, I had a big attitude toward the doctor, a real big one. And he was looking like, but I didn't do anything. And Solomon looking at the doctor like, I'm sorry, but I tried to tell her, but so, but I got past all of that. And once again, much support, a lot of love and support from family and friends.
Well,
it was tough.
I want you to explain, because that was the first time for our guests that's watching. Explain to them what a dry run is, since they don't know.
Okay. You want to talk about
it? A dry run, what that is that they have a potential heart for you. Mm-hmm. And like I say, they what Mayo do is they'll send out their own doctors, and they would go and they'll check this heart out for themselves. And then if it's good enough, they would call back and let the doctors know. And then they would come back and they'll do another test. And what happened is, like with that one, it didn't pass the final test. And so a dry run is you have everything ready. Prepared. You be prepared to go into surgery. And then it's just like everything just come to a complete stop.
That's it.
And that's what why they call it the dry run.
Yeah. And that's it until the next time they get a potential heart. And you can go through more than one dry run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we know how heartbreaking these dry runs are. However, it is a necessary evil, I would say, to go through to make sure that that everything is okay. So I want to now push us towards the day of the transplant. No more dry runs. The day of the transplant, the call came. Finally, the doctors say the heart is good. Can you paint that picture for me? Who's in the room with you? I know the whole world was praying, but who is in the room with you? And because I know he's getting prepared. And, Solomon, I will ask how many hours, and Carol might know, because I know she keeps accurate records of how long, you were away. But can you just paint that picture for us on that day?
First, I'd like to say this part first. The dry run hurt me so bad. I told him, I say, listen, when they tell you they have a potential heart, call me, but I'm not coming. I say, when they get you in the operating room, tell them to call me, and then I'll believe it. And he said, well, okay. And the day of, he called, and I said, okay, all right. Tell them to call me when you get in the operating room. And he said, well, okay. And they called me. It was late one night. They called me. And I remember the nurse saying, okay, we have your husband in the operating room. I said, okay. But you hadn't cut him open yet. So, okay, I'll be waiting on the next phone call. And seriously, I wasn't there. They called me and say, okay, we have his chest open. And now he's on the, was it bypass they call it? I mean, through the whole, every step, they called me. But I was not there. I was so scared to go down, and I felt like, okay, what if it's another setup? What if it doesn't happen? And I was just so scared to have to go through that again. I didn't get to the hospital till after he was transplanted. Now I'll let him tell you all about the rest of it, but I'm sorry, I was not there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His mom and sister went down.
Yeah, they was there.
But I was just so hurt from before. I don't know.
But the doctor came in, and he liked the joke, and so he came in, and he said, Solomon, he said, I believe we got a heart, And I was like, okay. I said, okay, that's fine, And I was in the room by myself at the time when he came in. And he said, well, Solomon, he said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, the heart that you're receiving, he said, is just not no regular heart. He said, this heart is a very good heart. And he told me, he said, they usually don't give you any information, but he told me, he said the heart was from,
Florida. It was from the state of Florida.
And
young guy.
He was young. He was in his 30s.
Early 30s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he said the heart is very, very good. And so I was like, well, okay, and he said, well, we need to go ahead and do everything that we need to do, because you got to go, they got to come in and they got to get, it seemed like a whole, they take all kind of vials of blood. You got to, take take a shower, and, got to do your sanitizing and I think what it was. I had to go and get a chest X-ray.
Can't eat.
Yeah, couldn't eat. But you had to go. I had to go and get a chest X-ray to make sure that this heart would fit in my chest. And see, that's what a lot of people don't know. It's a lot of stuff that goes on about getting a heart transplant, that some of it you don't find out until after you get into the hospital. But yeah, that was one of the couple of things that they had to do. They had to prep me and like I say, take chest X-rays, different things like that.
I want to just bring attention to something real quick, just in case our viewers don't know, because you mentioned the size of the heart. But for the people that don't know you, how tall are you?
6'5".
Okay. So, and that also had, it played its part in him staying in the hospital, for over 6 months. Your height, your weight,
Right.
someone that's like 5'6". My heart would not fit into his body. It would have to work overtime just for it to work and to keep him alive. So this is why my quest to register 1,000 people is necessary. And we need a lot of African-American males, definitely 6 feet and taller. And your weight matters, so height, weight, blood type, all of those things, really matter. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't know their blood type. So if people understand that part, then I think, more people will understand, why did Leonard pass away? Because Leonard was 300 plus and 6'1", and there were not a lot of, big men that were, as donors. You would need to get somebody from, the NFL to come and be an organ donor to, that if they met their demise, they would say, yes, I would do that, and so with Leonard and Solomon having that size frame, it makes it even more difficult to get an organ donor, because, we met, my first interview was with the Brisbys. He was able to get a heart in 5 weeks. And then you all just told me about another young lady who was in the hospital. How long before she received hers?
It was 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
So it depends. If we have 113,000 people in this country waiting for the gift of life, in Florida, we have over 5,000 people that's waiting for the gift of life. So that's why my movement, my transplant talk, is to be able to bring awareness, inform, and educate people about organ transplant. And so we know you went through that. How long were you in surgery?
Oh my goodness! That's the one thing I don't remember. Was it 7, 8?
No, I was 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
It was 4 hours. Okay.
Yeah. Some go longer than that. It can go 7, 8 hours because some people have more different difficulty or more advanced stuff that's going on with them that they have to go in surgery a little bit longer. But yes, mine was 4 hours.
Right. So how long were you in recovery after that?
I was in there for I think a day, 2 days.
So you were under for 2 days?
No.
Oh, wow.
You came hours later.
Yeah, I came out hours later. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, for the people that don't know, that you were affectionately known as the president, and Leonard was known as the mayor because you all have been there so long. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, when we first met him, I saw this tall frame man walking around Mayo, and he walked everywhere at Mayo.
Everywhere, literally.
Huh?
Literally everywhere. The whole Mayo campus.
Right.
I mean, literally. Yeah. Everybody knew him.
Everybody knew Solomon. And when anyone came to the hospital and they were coming to see Solomon, we would say, is that, he's the tall guy with the mask on his face? Listen, we're in the COVID-19 stage right now, but Solomon was wearing that mask, before everybody. Anybody that has had a transplant knows how to wear these masks. I guess they're N95. So he definitely knows about it. And I want to be able to have questions or answer questions if people have any. And I'm looking at the comments now. And I hope you all can see what they're saying, because praise the Lord, they are really doing, they're really doing amazing. I want you all to tell us now, like, how is life now after transplant?
It's I can just say it's glorious, because
that's his take on it. That's his take.
It's glorious because of one thing. Diagnosed with congested heart failure. Your heart is very weak, and it's so weak that you can't hear your heartbeat. And after you have the heart transplant, you hear this noise, and you just hear this real loud thumping noise, and you get scared because you don't know what's going on, because you haven't heard your heart in so many years. But then when you get a heart transplant, you can hear this heart, and it's pumping, and then you can just like it's just banging.
He was so emotional,
and
he was like, "Carol, oh my gosh, I can hear my heartbeat. I can feel it beating in my chest," because beforehand, oh man, it was like the doctor explained it being like this, like barely.
Oh, well, let's educate people. What was your EF? Because people don't know what EF even means.
That's your fraction.
Yeah, fraction.
Mine was 15. 15 and 10. I think
15 right before the him getting the pacemaker and defibrillator, his heart was only beating like 20 something beats per minute. And the doctor was like, "Mr. Griffin, how in the world are you sitting here talking to me, and in your right mind, you're supposed to be dead?"
Wow. Look at God. Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Wow. He said at 20 heartbeats per minute, he said, "Right now, we supposed to be putting a defibrillator on you right now."
And he was sitting up talking to the doctors like, "I'm good.
Yeah, I'm fine."
And they said, "Are you
to the bathroom?
Your chest hurting?"
I mean, everything.
He was like, "No, I feel a little pressure, but I'm fine." And then by the next morning, the doctor was like, "Mr. Griffin, you have a decision to make." And he was hesitant. The doctor say, "Mr. Griffin, get this device, or you could go ahead, ma'am. You can go ahead and call the family and tell them to come on in." Wow.
Wow. And the reason why that was because I was big on I'm going to Mayo Clinic, That's why I was headed about getting.
I was like, "You're not gonna make it to Mayo Clinic, sir."
gotta get that device. That is that's so. All right, so I have a few more questions. After you had the transplant, how many pills are you taking a day? What's your medicine intake?
It's about 20. It was 20 plus pills a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
for the remainder of the time that he's here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the heart that I have, like you say, which you know, anything that go in your body that's foreign, it fight against it.
And without those medications,
without those anti-suppressant medicines, it will kill the heart.
Wow. And again, people don't understand. You have to take this for the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life, yes.
As long as you are here, you have to take these medications. Are the medications expensive?
Yes, they are.
Very expensive. And I feel like that's the part that they don't educate the recipients on, or the patients on, as much as they should, because one of his medicines, the rejection medicines, they definitely need, because without those, the body will reject that foreign organ, and they go into rejection and you die. I mean, so that's a must have. You got to have that. And I can remember coming out of the hospital, and we called for one of his prescriptions, and it was well over $1,000, and that was for one medicine, one of the rejection medicines, not to count all the other medicines that came along with it. So yeah, they can be very, very expensive. It gets better with time, but to start with, it's expensive, very.
And so without insurance, it would probably be even more expensive.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
You have to be a millionaire to be able to afford it without insurance.
So I know, just for the people that are watching, if you knew all of this before, would you have still made the same decision? Like,
yes, you would have. Like, okay, we need you.
Right.
We need you. Me and these 5 kids and your mom and everybody else, we need you. We just gonna pray, and we gonna have strong faith, and we're gonna believe that God is gonna bring us through this. Yes, you gonna make it. He struggled with it, with getting a heart in the beginning, because he told the doctors, he was like, I'll take medication, and when the medication can no longer help me, I'll make a decision. And that's what happened. He took the medication from 2011 all the way up to 2016. And the average life of a person with congestive heart failure is 5 years. So it started to get a little scary. But they were straightforward. I can say that about Mayo Clinic. They were always straightforward and told us just straight up, didn't beat around the bush. And so he said, okay, the medicines have taken you as far as they can take you. It's time to make a decision. So
I do know that was something we grappled with with Leonard. Okay, what are we going to do? How do we position ourselves to say, all right, somebody else has to pass away in order for me to live? So, that definitely is that's a game changer for, a lot of people. And so since we're coming close, and just in case somebody has any questions, and I think this is your son, he said, my lovely parents and Miss Carolyn. And I guess they're saying, yes, we do. We need you right here. And so everyone needs, the Griffins here. But here's a question. Have you had the opportunity to meet your donor family?
No, I haven't. I reached out to him. I wrote him a letter.
Yeah, you have to wait for a year.
You have to wait
before
for
you
a year.
Reach out to them.
You're right. But I did write them a letter, and they did respond. But it's a process that you have to go through. You go through what they call the curator. The curator is the one that goes and get the heart or either the organ. And when it comes to the donor, the family, he is the middleman. So when I wrote the letter, it had to go to the curator first, and the curator would try to get in contact with the family. So
and it's up to the family.
And it's up to the family, and I respect that. I really wanted to meet the family. I really did, but respond. I understand what they're going through. The grief of losing losing life.
But we are so grateful for the young man being an organ donor. Yes, we're so grateful.
So I want to play Oprah. If you could say anything to that family, and I know you wrote the letter, but what would you tell them? Because and we're going to just wrap this up. What off of your heart? What's on your heart to say to them? Maybe they'll watch this. Maybe somebody will pass it along to them.
I think what I would say is I thank God for him being a donor, right. And I thank God for them also, because if it wasn't in the plan of God, it would have never happened. But like I say, I really wish that I could meet them or talk to them, because that's one of the biggest things that I always wanted to do. I wanted to meet the donor's family, and I wanted to express to them, and show my gratitude and my love to them.
Yes, and I definitely appreciate them. I'm so grateful, and because of them, because of the donor and his selfless act of being an organ donor, we're able to move on and embark upon a new mission ourselves. So we're grateful, forever grateful.
Amen to that. Because I'm definitely, I'm so grateful that you all are still here, and so I am asking you just one last time, if you could say anything to someone that is straddling the fence about becoming an organ donor, what words would you tell them?
To think about others, be considerate of others. That's a selfless act of kindness. One person, one organ donor can save so many lives, and not just because of him receiving an organ. Even if he hadn't received that organ, it still opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it really makes you appreciate life. And who knows? We had no idea we'd even be having to have this conversation. No idea that he'd even get sick the way that he did. But he did, and because of organ donation, he got a second chance at life. So it's a selfless act, and why not? Why not? Every act of kindness, regardless of how big or how small, is a great thing to do. And
we grateful.
Became organ donors.
I would definitely be grateful.
18-year-old. At the age of 16, she decided, I want to be an organ donor mom. I want to help save somebody's life if I can. So,
and then there you have it. So just for, I'm a teacher, so I always love to make sure I educate people, and I leave you with something. There are which organs, I don't think people understand which organs can be transplanted. But your lungs, your kidneys, your heart, your liver, your pancreas, and small intestines, and also your cornea, your heart valve. These are the tissues that can be transplanted, the bone, ligaments and tendons, all of these different things, these different organs and tissues can help save someone's life. And I can't wait for for everyone to hear this story even more. I hope everyone on the page will just share, so that everyone can learn about organ donation and organ transplant.
Naishanda,
Yes.
I like to mention this also. You can be a live donor. A lot of people, when they think about organ donation, they think about, okay, when I pass away, somebody, you can be a live donor, especially a kidney. I know that,
And I have several people now that I've met that were living donors. So, I really want the people to understand that. And my family, I definitely love you all and I appreciate you all. You have any final words before we leave? Hey, to your family, I don't know.
We want people to reach out to us,
right,
especially if they have questions or whatever. Reach out to us. We'll be more than glad to take the time to answer questions and encourage, motivate, inspire. We love doing that. Absolutely love it. So if they have any questions or whatever, contact us through Facebook. We're more than willing.
Yeah, give them that information.
Say that again now.
Give them that information. How can they contact you?
Oh, they can contact me through Facebook or Messenger. He's on Facebook. He's on Facebook now.
I know.
So yeah. So we can be contacted that way.
Okay. So Carol Griffin and Solomon Griffin on Facebook. So just in case you all didn't you don't know their names, it's Carol Griffin and Solomon Griffin. They're both.
And it's a picture of him because we have a Solomon Jr. that looks just like his dad.
Yes.
A picture of Solomon Sr. and mine is a picture of a heart-shaped cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, I was seeing hearts everywhere. So yeah.
And you always send them to me. So I am forever grateful. So thank you all so much for being a part of the show. My first live show. I am super happy. And thank you everybody for being on the show. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. What you say?
I said thank you for having us on.
Oh, I've been waiting for this.
Oh yeah. We've enjoyed it.
I've been waiting. So thank you all so much. So I'm gonna say goodbye to you all, and I'm gonna say goodbye to them, and I'll talk to you all later. All right. I love y'all.
Bye. We love you too.
Bye.
Okay. So guys, thank you so much for being a part of my first Transplant Talk broadcast. I'm pretty sure this is all of the Griffin's family, Miss Carolyn Johnson, Miss Farmer, Miss Atkins, Miss Ash. Thank you all so much for being a part of it. And, thank you, Steve, for even helping me with this broadcast, getting me prepared. So if you don't remember anything, remember becoming an organ donor is the most selfless act that you can that you can give to someone. And I often thought, somebody needs to do something about this. And I was that person just to bring this knowledge and awareness. It is my job to inform, bring awareness, and educate. So thank you all. Until the next time, God bless you and good night.